This video is sponsored by Squarespace. You can get a 14-day free trial and 10% off your first order by using this link and code in description box down below. This is 19,000.
Yes.
Ouch. When people come to the shop, can they just say, "Oh, can I have a look at that?"
Yeah, of course. Well, it's clear glass, isn't it?
Oh, it's heavy. Look.
What year is this from?
This one, quite recent.
Yeah.
It's not that long ago. I can't remember the exact year. Is it 2017, maybe?
LHSA edition Summicron 15mm modern APO optics with a retro body. They know classics sell. They brought back the Summilux recently, didn't they?
That's right. Yeah.
They know there's a market for that kind of stuff.
So yes, here I am today. We're in a different country, and I have brought along the new Leica Summilux. New old Leica Summilux. If light lens can do it, so can Leica. Yeah, remastered.
And this is not the first time that Leica has been the remaster master of their back catalogue. So this is a modern remake of the OG Noctilux, the 1.2.
That's right, yes.
Which is super expensive. This one, that's 6,490.
Yes.
I mean, have you had them side by side and tested them? And is it like really quite similar?
It's the same lens, isn't it? It's just the finish.
Okay.
See that? Well, they call it the glossy black paint now. It's really shiny, really nice.
Well, at least this one is. If I drop this, isn't as bad as that one.
You can afford to drop that one.
Well, was the coating?
Cover.
Is the coating sort of a bit old school as well?
Yeah, it's not as. It hasn't got that bluish or brown tint. Yeah.
There is a big appeal to something that was made like it used to be, but made today. Kind of makes sense that Leica are reviving their own classics, even if it will cost more than something like this. But whether you go for the Leica 50mm f1.2 spherical remake or the Light Lens Lab version, it still kind of works out better than buying the original, which costs several tens of thousands. However, with this new 50mm Summilux f1.4 Classic, it's a different matter. It's not a collector's item. Of course, this one does cost £3,000. You can get the old one for less than £2,000, but that's probably filled with some kind of life form in between lens elements.
This is with the character.
Yes, it's the magic.
But
Magical glow. Old Leica lenses used to be loved by Leica lovies for a perceived Leica glow, and depending what someone thinks it means, it could be down to hazy elements, good center sharpness, softer corners, spherical aberration, old coating, good micro contrast coupled with chroma, and all that puts me in a coma. So, not going to evaluate this lens on its glow because no one really has a clue what Leica glow means anyway. From what I recall, because I don't have that lens anymore, but that version 2 that I previously used had plenty of that, what you'd call glow. It was not sharp. This new one is based on version 2 and also free. But the thing is, when you're not shooting wide open, it really is quite sharp in a somewhat modern way. It was designed this way, although the optical layout is the same. Leica used glass and coating different to the original. Still, there's something quite appealing about it. The first Fast 50 I got was this one right here. It's a Nikon 50mm 1.4 AFD. The second one was this Summilux 50mm 1.4 version 2, which this is based on. So it's kind of like a blast from the past. Yes, I do have a soft gooey spot for this, although for some reason it feels shorter. Could be that the front end is a bit wider, taking a 46mm filter instead of 43. The actual look of the lens is pretty similar to the version 1 and version 2 Summiluxes that look the same, but let's be clear, weren't optically the same.
I think it can be quite easy for people to just say, oh, the version 1 Summilux, because for the outsider, they might not realise there's all these intricacies of different versions of Summiluxes. They just see, oh, that old one and the new one, because the new one is just the spherical. If you really look at all the different versions, there's the version 1, which is the Sumrit, the 51.5 rebadged, and the version 2, which this is based on. Then you've got the pre-spherical, and then you've got the spherical. But this is version 2. I had the version 2. I liked it, but as I said before, very prone to haze, fog, whatever, and it did have that, so it was quite soft. But that also had a minimum focusing distance of 1 meters, which is not very practical. I mean, 1 meters, I can't. It's like That's less than 1 meters.
Less,
So
totally less.
move back a bit, a little bit more. Yeah, about that. Oops, is it switched? It's not switched on.
1 meter close focusing is one of the limiting factors of using the original version 2.
70 centimeters.
I'm not going to make a huge deal of the 70 centimeter close focusing. The version 3 already had that, and that, although it looks modern, is optically the same as the version 2. So this new classic remake looks old, it focuses like a modern lens, feels like an old lens, but takes photos that can look modern when stopped down, yet old. So what exactly is it? Well, it's bloody gorgeous, that's why. It looks Summilux, if that makes sense. This Summilux version it's based on has been around for a lot longer than the modern sphericals, so it looks like a classic Summilux. The centre's good, even wide open. The corners don't show up too much vignetting, although there's a noticeable amount of corner softness. But that's what's good about it. It makes this an ideal lens for portraits. In fact, for anything, edge-to-edge sharpness for a lot of types of photography is overrated.
This is just enough. It's just right. I don't know. It's weird. When I looked at some of the images, I thought, it looks like an AI image. Woman there by the riverside and Big Ben in the background, slightly blurred. Boom, AI picture. So if you want to do AI images, buy a Leica. Top tip.
Alright, maybe it's not AI-like, but you know, it looks like an oil painting or something. It's not clinically sharp like you'd find with a spherical. It replicates those details nicely, but ever so smoothly. It's still got that long focus throw, that tabless scallop focus ring. It's still quicker to focus than a Noctilux. It's not as slick as a modern spherical Summilux with the focusing tab, but it's a lot more practical for street photography than the Noctilux. Otherwise, there's not too much to complain about. The bokeh is lovely, and if you like flaring, it flares when you get light coming in from the side. And if you don't like flaring, then there's an old school detachable hood that blocks off a fair bit of the 50mm frame.
But anyway, they've made a modern remake, and I like it. It's cool. Is it £3,000 cool? Not really. I'd prefer £3,000. I'm getting older now. I'd prefer £3,000 in my pension fund. How different are other days now? Back when we were doing digital web TV, and it's like, oh yeah, oh Noctilux, oh like it. No, now it's like, oh, you know, I need my pension fund. I'm getting old. I need a good retirement. Oh my God, look at, oh my word. Hold that pension fund a minute. Sexy Germanness. Ooh, that's the rear end. Got to check out the rear.
And just like that, my pension fund is in danger of taking a massive dent. It's so very good. It could be my favourite current Leica 50mm. It's almost hard to quantify its quality because it will be beaten by modern optics. If we're looking at just how sharp a lens can be and free from aberrations and stuff. It's just so... Let's just say Leica glows, shall we? But anyway, for me, it's got the look I love, and if it works for you, perhaps it doesn't need a label as long as it makes sense in your head.
I always like to say when people complain about, you're paying for the name or whatever. Well, there is a difference. Maybe you don't care the difference, but there is a difference.
Yeah.
Like I don't need that. Oh, that's fine. But you can't say that you just pay for the name.
And I still think that if you want the look of the old one, you should just buy the old one because now they've got a very specific look.
It's sort of like a vintage watch or classic car. Part of the appeal is that it's an object that has spent several decades on this earth being used, so there's wear and tear and patina and decay. But there is something about this new old Summilux. It's got character. It's got character in the same, but yet different way to the classic. Enough of a vintage aesthetic to smoothen off the clinical sharpness of digital, but it's not an entirely new concept. Zeiss did it ages ago with the Sonar C, there's Voigtlander, and of course the Light Lens Labs type brands. But if you're a proper die-hard Leica fan, then it's got to be Leica all the way. And if I were to choose again for a fast M-mount 50mm lens, it would be this 50mm Summilux Classic all the way. This video was sponsored by Squarespace. If you're thinking about setting up your own personal photo website, now's a great time because you can set one up quicker than ever using Squarespace's snazzy interface that makes putting it together quick and easy. There's a huge array of templates to choose from, and you can even ask AI to put together some parts of your website for you. You can get a domain too, and the best thing is that you can get a 14-day free trial and 10% off your first order by using this link and code in the description box down below.